Hello to the Chicos and the Chicas, day 2 from the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour, and here I come with the recap. And once again, we have got the legend himself, Mamedyarov, with us today, again in the black trunk against Grandmaster Rapport, who I think is playing his first tournament now under the Romanian flag, but for me he remains a Hungarian for the rest of his life. And a super exciting game, and what a finish. So let's dive right into it. Rapport, true to his style and his recent favorites, is playing this G3, I don't even know what it's called, opening. The Rapport number 2 opening, or number 3 or number 10. Yeah, so we have got this reversed, I'm lost for words as to what it is. It could turn into a reverse Pierce, it can turn into a reverse Philidor, or it can just be the Rapport. Let's go with that. And I really like by the way how Shach is approaching the opening, immediately going for the most aggressive way to play and taking back with the queen. In my book, signals very clear intentions, and on lower level of chess, these intentions are so instructive. So what does queen d5 signal? First of all, it brings out a new piece, and yes, it may look like queen is too out early into the game, but knight c3 is actually very conveniently met by bishop b4, meaning that the queen can't really be pestered on d5. But what the early queen sortie allows black to do is to play bishop g4 with the tempo and then castle queenside, further enhancing the lead in development and also adding yet another layer of imbalances to the position by virtue of castling to the opposite wings, which is not only fun, but when you are ahead in development, it's almost a mandatory way to play chess as far as my chess philosophy is concerned. So bishop g2, e4, knight c3, bishop b4. All of this, by the way, is still to some degree theoretical. We have seen a game like that in the database played by Zyagintsev against Motilev. Knight g5, bishop g4, super aggression. And by the way, something that I often quote and I think is often overlooked, this is the epitome of the Morphian chess principles for you in the 21st century. One piece, one move. Everybody is developed. We are ready to castle with black on move 9. That is super impressive and really instructive chess. And it is so good to see that 2800 or 2700 rated grandmasters regularly deliver the goods, falling back onto these principles in order to score absolutely marvelous victories, and this is definitely one of those. Queen d2, a little bit of a funky move. I really did like the idea of knight takes e4 here, aiming for counter chaos, if you will, because now white simply hangs his queen, but the idea of course would be that if I take that queen, then knight f6 and this queen drops 2, and all of a sudden white is completely winning with a extra piece, or at least several pawns in the endgame, depending on how black responds. So this is not playable, and in fact after knight e4, the best way for black to continue the fight is queen e6, and this is actually an absolutely insane array of pins. Like, I don't know if I've seen anything like this on move 9, that black has got 3 different things pinned. That is just something else, although admittedly they fizzle out into this position, which I think is about equal, but I would prefer to play it with black because despite the pawn deficit, we seem to have really great piece activity. The d-file is on, so yeah, that would have been an interesting way to play, but that wasn't to Rapport's liking. He likes chaos too, and he likes to prove that he has got the bigger calculating muscles, and he wants to play the calculation game as well, and so he goes for queen d2, which is a very unique way to break this pin. Bishop takes, pawn takes, and castles queenside. Yes, baby! That's how good chess is played. Castlino to castle to queenside is always the way to go. Absolutely. It's like on possum. When you can do it, you must. No, I'm just kidding. But you get the idea. It's really cool to see. Because now, this is open game, man. Like, we are going after the king on the king side. They will have quite a lot of attack on the queen side. Exciting chess. This is what gathers the crowds around the chessboard. So let's see how it goes. it goes with a mistake. I perhaps should remove these question marks though for the next time, but I will leave them on now. So knight e5 is disliked by the cruel engine, and instead the machine recommends queen d7, which is quite understandable. We want to kick the knight and then go bishop h3, and we also want to get out of this very annoying pin. Whereas the other recommendation, bishop f5, is clearly to bolster the e4 pawn and try to hang on to it as best as we can. Knight e5, on the other hand, sends a message of, I want to checkmate your king, bro. However, this is not quite as good as it was probably hoped to be by... as Mamedyarov was hoping for, because here this sneaky queen e3 actually causes quite a bit of headache. And once again, this is still the game of pins, and now the queen slithers away from the d-file pin, pinpoints the Achilles heel of the long castle position, which is the a7 pawn, and now all of a sudden we have got two hanging pawns, and there doesn't seem to be an adequate answer to deal with this. The engine recommends rook e8, ignoring both like a Chad, and after queen a7, h6, knight e4, knight f3 check. According to the machine, takes, and white has a slight edge, but boy, this is chaos on the board, which of course is definitely to both players' liking. Such a pity that only one can win, right? Anyway, knight e5 was met by c4, which is an inaccuracy in turn. Queen b4, Mamed goes in for the rook, but actually this is a mistake, and here there was a marvelous tactical counterpunch, which I'm quite surprised that that Rapport did not pick up on. There were two ways to try to trick the queen. One of them was to play queen a5, entirely hanging the rook, and then play bishop f4, hitting the queen, hitting the knight, and after queen b2, bishop e5, queen b6, queen takes, and knight takes f7, all of a sudden the game fizzles into an endgame where white is actually better. And it's quite amazing, by the way, how quickly, just in a blink of an eye, you lose focus of the attack and the initiative in the center and against the king, and you set your eye on a different target, and by different I mean in nature. Instead of pursuing attack, you go for material, and the tendency of the game shifts in a second, and all of a sudden it is white who is becoming the attacker against the black king, which is yet another good message to try to not to be too materialistic in chess. The other one that the engine recommends is based on similar ideas with queen b4, queen a1, and then bishop b2. And now the queen is well and truly trapped. If I go queen a2, rook a1, so I have to take more than likely on f1 or play knight c6, but neither is particularly impressive because, as I said, the queen is a goner, and after probably bishop takes is better. It seems to me that again white is taking over in the initiative department, and the engine seems to approve. So yeah, Rapport had two different exciting ways to let the rook go, and he chose neither, and boy, the punishment was severe. h6, and that was the point when Rapport decided to go for it, and that was the wrong time to do so. He decided to play queen b4, but as you can see by the cruel red mark from the engine, it's like, no-go zone. Takes g5, takes b7, king b7, and already white is dead lost because of the motif that was played in the game, which was that after bishop takes b2 came the bolt from blue. Well, not really actually. This is not a bolt from blue. This is a bolt, a lightning strike, very, very predictable. If you look at the immense centralization and power of the entire black army, like this is 9, 14 plus 9, 23 points of pieces in the zone of the king. Chess would be an unjust game if we didn't have a tactic here. And Mamed goes, yeah, we do. Boomski. And that is just such a marvelous tactico. Actually, let me call on my friend Tony G for this one.
Feel the power. You feel my power, baby?
Oh yeah, feel the power, baby. That is something else altogether. This is a brilliant sack that immediately concludes the game. A beautiful queen sack with the idea of adding fuel to the fire with rook g2, king g2, bishop f3 check. The king goes back to g1, and after rook h1, white has got a fair number of spy checks before they run out, and the checkmate on h1 becomes unstoppable. To be very precise, the calculation goes queen b5, c6, queen here, and king here. Now, to be fair, I think this is how far you would calculate in a normal game, because now it's very clear that there are no more meaningful checks. The engine likes to throw this in because it diverts the rook, but actually there is nothing that can stop this rook from going back and landing the checkmate on h1 a couple of moves later. So that is now the second time when Mamedyarov sacrifices a queen in style and scores a marvelous victory. But of course the rest of the games, as I went through them, also left a lasting impression. Lots of fun chess, lots of attacking chess. So yeah, do yourself a favor and check out all the other games if you can too. And as far as this video is concerned, please don't forget to like, to comment, to make that algorithm move faster, and of course, and sub and super like if you can. And I will be back with the next video very soon. Thank you for watching.